Greetings everyone, welcome back to Lemex Effects. So, I ended up writing this script on Tuesday, so what is a short idea that I can get out quickly, and I don't need a lot of scriptures or historical events in order to prove whatever I will say. Might as well explain those Aeons. You see, in the previous episode, I explained that each of the Aeons represents one of the races that had Israel in slavery. But I didn't explain how I came to that conclusion, so I will start with showing the biblical and historical meaning behind the first Aeon, Valefore, or Valefore. I'm sure it's Valefore. So, what is the first thing you should know about Valefore? The first thing you should know is the name. You see, I did a Google search for Valefore because of all the Aeons. It is the only name that I had never heard before. And apparently, it is a Duke of Hell, according to demonology. And yes, demonology is a religion, so moving on. Now, here is something interesting. The definition of Duke is a European ruler. So, the Duke of Hell is a European who rules hell. That makes Valefore a representation of Caucasian society. But that is not all. You see, Valefore has another historical topic. For you see, in Japanese, there is no symbol for the letter V, as in velvet or violet. Only B, as in boy, black, and bodacious. So, Valefore would actually be pronounced Balfour, as in the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration was a public statement written by Europeans, the Dukes, and their idea was to put other Caucasians into Israel and to call them the Jews. But no matter what you believe, no matter what you think that the Jews look like, you know for a fact the Jews are not Caucasian looking. And even if you want to say that the Jews could look Caucasian because they mingle with the other nations, the fact is most of the world is brown. Arabians, Indians, and Africans all have brown skin. Even Asians come in brown sometimes. So why are all the so-called Jews Caucasians? If they were originally brown and they mingled with everyone, which is mostly brown people, what color should most of them be? So, based on simple population and statistics, most of the Jews should be brown. And if they're not mostly brown, then they are not the Jews, right? Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So, these people are the synagogue of Satan, the people of Satan, and their identity was set up in Balfour. That means Balfour, the Duke of Hell, also represents the people of hell who call themselves Jews. Now, do you know why this is important? Well, firstly, that makes every Caucasian country who helped with this lie in agreement with Satan. That means that basically all of the Caucasian world is in agreement with Satan. Secondly, remember that Valefore is the first Aeon you received. Even Braska, who lived in Bavel, had to travel to be saved to get Valefore first. That means Valefore is the gatekeeper to every other pagan religion, every other Aeon in Final Fantasy X. No other religion will accept you unless you agree with Valefore, because all other religions agree with Valefore. Revelation chapter 17, verse 17. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. That is why, even though everyone knows the Jews are black, every other country Even the ones that are not Christian will paint Jesus Christ, who is a Jew, as a Caucasian, because they all agree with the beast that is called America. But the game calls the beast by a different name.
We call it sin.
Yes, America, the land of sin, the place where you can only get rich if you agree to sin, and you will be destroyed if you don't. This land is sin. Now you know. Now you know the reason why the Aeon that symbolizes European dominance in Israel is the first Aeon you get. You understand the reason is every other race agrees to European dominance, or at least they did agree. I also won't mention the fact that you can find seemingly all religions in America, like it's some paganism crockpot, but anyway, we are still not done. Because there's another thing that's interesting about Valefore. The other interesting thing that you need to know about Valefore is that Valefore in the game is a woman. Now, why is it important that she is a woman? That the human that sacrificed her soul in order to become Valefore is a woman? Why is that important? Well, question. How did Satan destroy Adam? 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. So, Satan destroyed Adam by using the woman. And if this is true, then how do you think you're supposed to destroy the black community? Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. So, you destroy the black community by using the woman, because she is the reason why we die. And she is the beginning of sin, because going through her is the first step, the beginning of getting the final Aeon that becomes sin. But I'm still not done. Let's see if the woman is how you destroy a race in practice. Here we have the Willie Lynch letter and the making of a slave. On page 14, it says, "A wild or natural nigger is dangerous even if captured, for they will have a tendency to seek their customary freedom." So the natural nigger gives freedom, huh? Page 16. In her natural, uncivilized state, she'll have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male. So in a black woman's natural state that gives freedom, she is subject or submissive to the black man. Continuing in verse 16, we have reversed nature. In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reversed roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. Also, page 17. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. What does this all mean? Simple. The black women are trained to destroy the black community. They raise men to be weak, and they train their daughters to become mothers who also make their own sons weak. Thus, the black woman has become the biggest threat to all black people. Through her, we all die. But no, I'm still not done. Remember, Valefore is supposed to be a symbol for white supremacy, right? Remember that he's the Duke of Hell, after all. Duke means European. But for this Aeon to be a human woman, she would represent the black women, because we established in other videos that the humans represent black people. So how can these two thoughts agree? Back to page 16. Then take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. That means that if the black woman is the leader in the church, she will willingly teach whatever the Caucasian man teaches, even if it is a bunch of lies. This is also interesting because while she says that she doesn't need a man, doesn't need to submit to a man, she is willingly submitting to the Caucasian. So she submits to someone, just not black people. Interesting. So, the black woman is the symbol of white supremacy in the church. She is Valefore. That is why Valefore is a human woman. Oh yes, scripture. So, the Caucasian man said that in order to enslave black people, he reversed nature by putting the woman, the black woman, in authority over the black man. And according to the game, that included creating black woman pastors who teach congregations. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. So, to destroy the black community, Caucasians had to directly defy 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. See, I told you they were the devil. Doesn't the Bible say that the devil sins from the beginning, and that whoever sins is of the devil, and that whoever teaches sin is also the devil? Dang, and you don't think they're the devil anyway. This is what Valefore represents. Valefore represents the black woman dutifully pushing narratives that, wait a minute. I need to make sure I make something clear, because I was speaking so fast you probably missed it. I did not say that black women are the devil, in case there's someone who they were not paying attention. What I said was Caucasians are the devil, because they broke the commandments in order to get control over the black community. However, there is a specific reason why I would give so much time to showing the woman what she has been doing wrong. And that's because of Ezekiel chapter 13, verse 17. It says, "Likewise, thou son of man, set thy face against the daughters of thy people, which prophesy out of their own heart, and prophesy thou against them." That means, this is saying, son of man. I am a son of man. Like you, I am human. That's what that means. And yes, as a human, I am imperfect, because a black woman would love to just say, you're not perfect, how can you judge me? However, the Bible is commanding this son of man and all of his imperfections to set his face against the women of his own race. Just so happens that you could probably guess what my race is now, huh? So, it's saying that the women of my race like to prophesy out of their own hearts, their own minds, their own imaginations. They'd like to come up with things that make them feel good, and then step into the churches as a woman pastor and then tell everyone that God gave me a message, or God came into me in a dream, or God gave me a word to speak unto you. And then they will just say whatever it is that came into their hearts that time. God is telling me that my job is to go before that woman with my Bible and show everyone that she is not a daughter of God. She is a daughter of the devil. And to use these scriptures to prove it and make her look like a fool in front of everyone. Basically, my job is to tear her down. Because as long as she is acting as if she is the head honcho, that she is a messenger of God, and that she can speak in place of a man, the entirety of the black community will never be able to raise themselves out of the destruction that the black woman had put them in. The reason why the black community is where it is now is because the black men let the black woman be in this current position. So whenever the man has a thought of happy wife, happy life, my job is to tear that thought down. That is why I put so much effort into telling what the black woman had done. Make sense? Okay, where was I? Okay, so this is what Valefore represents. Valefore represents the black woman dutifully pushing the narratives that Caucasians set up that will lead black men to every other religion except the Bible. And by doing so, the black community is destroyed by sin because of the woman. Now, with that said, you have a choice in what I'm going to do next. Notice that this Japanese game seems very accurate in how it describes the state of the black church, and you probably want to know why. If so, you can request how the Japanese were able to learn so much about the Christian church. And if you request this, I will do a video about Onimusha, and I'll show you the history of how the Japanese learned so much about the Christian church, especially, the black church and the Bible in general, to make all these games. Or I can move on to the next Aeon, Ifrit, where I can simultaneously explain the history of Arabians enslaving blacks and how Caucasians started the Nation of Islam, which goes into the thought that all religions, even this Arabian one, agrees with Valfore's Caucasian religion because the Nation of Islam is a Caucasian religion. So choose what you want me to do next time on The Mex Effects.